I think we're early, Hicks.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, welcome to the morning market briefing.
Sorry about that, people. Hicks was a little early.
Early Hicks. Quick draw for us, but it is Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. Tom's countdown shows 6 minutes, but we're not that early. But we're early. We're here. We're happy. Happy Hump Day. How we doing?
Good. A lot of news. A lot of things to talk about.
Lots going on. We want to start with employment?
Yeah, we can do that quickly.
Let's do it. So ADP employment looking for 50,000.
Came in at 42. So even ADP's website didn't even update it very quickly. We got the new number off of Bloomberg, and then I was trying to get more detail on their website because they also give pay insights, and they just declined to update it because no one really pays attention to it, and the number doesn't really matter other than it is low. And after an upwardly revised number to 29,000 loss in November, you know, we're basically just treading water in terms of employment, which is what we've seen from a bunch of the surveys. You know, people, again, not really hiring. In fact, allowing workforces to shrink even at the margin while they try to pursue higher profits and higher profitability.
Not a surprise. We will get continued employment data throughout the week, so it'll be interesting to see if the overall mosaic matches what we've seen so far. We'll get the JOLTS job openings reading at 10 a.m. Also, ISM services coming through later.
The ISM services, that'll be a December number, so that follows the manufacturing number that we got Wednesday. This will give us a much better read on Q4 GDP. Right now, I think the Atlanta Fed has GDP right around 3%, maybe a little bit south of that. The Wall Street consensus is closer to 1%. And historically, over the last few quarters, those have converged closer to the Atlanta Fed's number. I think that consumer spending was pretty strong in November and December relative to what people had been fearing. So I think that we're probably going to be in a two-handle, which would be really strong, really good after a really good number in Q3, because what they do with these GDP numbers is that they link them from quarter to quarter and they seasonally adjust it and then multiply it by 4. So if you're growing 2% off of a quarter where you just grew 4% plus, that's a good number.
It's a good number.
And it means that we're probably growing 2.5% on a year-over-year basis.
So that's what we're looking for. Hope to see it. Let's talk Greenland.
Yes.
This, I guess, if I were to describe to someone that really didn't know what was going on with this was something that was floated a year ago. Something that was just kind of out there in the ether, occasionally referenced almost with rolling eyes and with laughter over the last week, given what the U.S. has been able to achieve with minimal, if any, resistance in Venezuela. Talk of Greenland has percolated back to the top, and it is certainly something that people seem to be listening to with a little bit more of a serious and discerning ear. I want to back up, though. Why do we want Greenland?
Manifest destiny.
Ultimately, I think Tom's exactly right. I think that's what it is. I think we have this guise of, strategic military area. I think that we've talked about rare earth, but I think Tom's right. It's more we want to be in expansion mode, or the Trump administration wants to be in expansion mode, because that's how Trump thinks. Trump thinks if you're not growing, you're dying, and therefore we need to grow.
I mean, the history of the U.S. has been rapid expansion. It just is. I mean, like, we wouldn't have California if we just didn't decide and go get it. We wouldn't have the Louisiana Purchase if Thomas Jefferson hadn't been like, hey, France, we'll give you $10 for a third of this country because you guys are so poor from fighting everybody all the time.
Alaska,
Hawaii, Puerto Rico. I mean, Florida, was part of the Spanish Empire. They don't call it New Mexico because it used to be Old Mexico. And so I think that this is part of the tradition of the United States of America is to expand and to dominate. And listen, they're not doing anything productive with Greenland. And I mean, Truman offered, I think it was $150 million for it in 1946, understanding that it was a nice strategic piece coming off of World War II. So it's not like this is the dumbest idea that's ever happened. We've had previous presidents who tried to do it. Let's go do it. Why not? You know, I mean, we got the Virgin Islands. We have American Samoa. Guam is part of the U.S. You know, there are all these different places. They issue municipal bonds, which you can buy. Puerto Rico. You know, I mean, these are all things that are part of the U.S. They aren't states necessarily, but, you know, why not us? Why can't we have Greenland?
Will we rename it?
Nah. I mean, we didn't rename New Mexico really either.
Maybe it's
or Florida
New,
or Colorado.
New Greenland.
California. I mean, Los Angeles. You know, there are plenty of Las Vegas. Just, you know, to name a few.
I think we got to go New Greenland.
How about Dubuque? I'm assuming that was the French settlers, if I had to guess. You know, Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Des Moines, yeah. I mean, there's plenty. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
So when we think about Greenland, Rubio has told lawmakers that any perceived threat is not a threat of an imminent invasion. We're really just trying to get them to the table. And I happen to very much agree with that. I think people are taking the actions in Venezuela, which, again, if you call timeout and you listen to Monday's call, if at any point in the last decade those actions had been taken by any country, it would be lauded and applauded and praised. I think people are taking the military actions in Venezuela and saying, okay, well, now Greenland's the next one that's going to go. This has art of the deal written all over it, if anything. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you've said this before, Andrew, how Trump is a master of going from exactly one thing and then immediately moving on to the next one. It's you know, if
he lives on momentum.
If you're a poker player, yeah, exactly. It's you just want a hand and then you immediately go big on the next hand, because people are going to run scared.
How about this? We purchased the Virgin Islands from Denmark in 1917 for $25 million. And I think it's actually a low-key bullying move because it was called the Danish West Indies. And we were like, we're going to buy it from these dorks and call it the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
Stuffed them right in a locker.
I
we literally bought that. I mean, no one, was, who was the president in 1917? Coolidge? Wilson? Where we were like, what a megalomaniac idiot. You know,
just buying islands.
Yeah.
During World War I.
Yeah, what were the headlines then? I mean, obviously, Wilson, one of the worst presidents of all time, maybe the worst. But certainly nobody talks about how he bought the Virgin Islands for $25 million in gold. I mean, that's like, what, 6-7 ounces now.
Trump's trying to get him to the table. Lots of options. Military could be one. I think this, if anything comes of this, which my base case is still very much that nothing will. I think it's a flat out purchase. If there's a purchase, who cries the hardest? Because I think there's a right answer.
Ooh.
Who's going to cry the most when the United States buys some land?
Americans.
Nope. You're wrong. The Europeans, man.
Oh, yeah.
They are going to be absolutely beside themselves.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone should own Nuke, it should be us, right? Capital Greenland. 2 U's. Different spelling, but come on. That was our idea. Why do they get to have it?
I mean, the Europeans are just going to be absolutely beside themselves.
Yeah.
The question is, who gets the money? So, I mean, if the U.S. buys it from Denmark, does Denmark get the money? Because the native Greenlanders will not be happy with that. Or do we kind of do an acqui-hire where kind of an NVIDIA deal where we don't actually buy it, but we say, hey, if you guys want to join our team, we're paying $20 billion.
Maybe we go full like open AI deal where we give quote unquote money to Denmark, but really we just raise the taxes in Greenland and give that money to Denmark and say we've reached a deal.
I mean, that'd be the Puerto Rico solution, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do you get? $5 million? How many people live there? Like 100,000?
50,000, I think.
50,000? I mean, you give them $5 million a piece. I mean, how much tariff money? We just find money on shelves. We learned yesterday they found $39 billion in tariff money that they were like, where did this come from? So give them 1 month's worth of tariff money. Across 50,000 people.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of cash. And guess what? I think they'd be happy. Like if you were like, hey, Alabama's going to pay you $5 million, but you got to live in Alabama. We're just going to move the border all the way to the water. I'd be like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm
in.
I'm already married. My cousins are all dudes. It's not a big deal.
Yikes. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think this is going to, I'm interested to see how quickly this news cycle goes because I continue to think nothing's going to actually come of this. And I'm curious if we are talking about this a week from now. But right now, people are they really got their panties in a wad, Tom.
Yes.
People
love to complain. It's the reason we don't already have Greenland is because we've gotten so soft. Back in the day, we would have just Alamo'd that thing. We would have just gone right up over the border, just
take
muskets in hand and been like, sorry, dog.
Yep.
This is new
Greenland.
New Greenland.
Red, white, and blue land.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You guys are now a minority. Sorry.
On the deal side, switching to investable markets, Mobileye acquiring Mentee for $900 million, an Israeli startup.
Yeah, an Israeli startup that was started by the same guy, Amnon Sheshua.
Bless you.
It's my very favorite type of Chinese food. It's this tingly peppers and Szechuan.
Yeah. So Mobileye is a semiconductor company that also provides software for use in automated driver assist systems as well as autonomous vehicles. They were acquired by Intel, I think, in 2016 or 2017. Intel ultimately spun them back out because they never really integrated them very effectively. Intel's still the largest single shareholder of Mobileye. But Mobileye now is buying, which was founded by Sheshua, is buying Mentee, which is also founded by Sheshua for $900 million. And Mentee is an Israeli startup that builds humanoid robots. The technology is still under development. The initial robots are going to go into auto factories to help with assembly. It's kind of the same way as Tesla's model with Optimus, how at some point they want Optimus to be, everyone have their own Optimus robot that folds laundry and does all these things. Hyundai actually,
no comment.
Hyundai bought Boston Dynamics for the same thing, helping with its assembly. And so now Mobileye doing that with Mentee. So it's an interesting deal. What's most interesting to me is that Mobileye is up 10% on the deal, which, usually when a company makes an acquisition, the stock goes down, especially if it's kind of you're giving
in development.
Yeah, to a guy who has a very vested interest in this other company. So I think this is just kind of another marker of these dynamics of going into autonomy, going into AI, and when companies do that, they're getting the benefits of it.
Man, this is a hot stock back when iStocks were big. Because remember, you forget, like 2013, 14, you had Mobileye, FireEye was another hot kind of meme stock at the time. I missed it. We haven't talked about Mobileye in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Warner Brothers officially rebuffing Paramount's latest bid, saying we don't want the extra money. It'd be too hard to break up with Netflix. Just continues to drag on.
Yeah, I think this is. I think Warner Brothers is really getting played by Netflix here. I think behind the scenes, Netflix is like, you better not take this deal because we are not coming over the top, and you guys are in such bad shape that if you have to pay us a breakup fee, you're not going to last. You have
not going to make to the finish line.
They haven't been profitable. This is a company that hasn't been profitable since 2021. They have $18 billion in debt coming due this year.
Nice.
Like,
it's a lot.
They're rated junk. They've been downgraded serially over the last 3 or 4 years.
Of course, Ben with the cereal.
Loves the cereal.
And they need a deal. Like, Warner Brothers really needs this deal, and I think Netflix is really strong on arming them. but they're wading into dangerous territory, just flat out rejecting the Paramount deal because Paramount's offer was $78 billion and Netflix's offer was 72. Now, under the Netflix deal, Warner Brothers gets to spin off its cable assets like CNN, TNT, but Comcast just spun out its cable assets in a company called Versant.
Down 13%.
Down 13% yesterday. So not a good endorsement. Their market cap is only $5 billion at this point. So when I look at this, I'm thinking to myself, at the very least, they're comparable deals. And if anything, I actually think Paramount deal has less risk because you don't have much less antitrust risk. And right now, if you're Warner Brothers, you just need the money. And you don't have to worry about the spinoff either with the Paramount deal. So I think that Warner Brothers board is probably going to get sued for these recommendations, but they really don't have an option because Netflix isn't going to go
They've
higher.
got 'em in the corner.
So I think this is very good news for Netflix. It's bad news for Warner Brothers, and it's bad news for Paramount.
Man, should they lower their offer?
They might.
That's the move. Be like, you know what? I'll give you $10, and be like, well, I don't know. We might. No,
Yeah, it's like
make it $9.
They bully them. They shove them in the locker. They're like, your company is, you have to use us. We're your only option. We're the only one still at the table because your company sucks so bad. Hey, now that I think about it, we're coming down on our offer.
Yeah, we're gonna give you 60 cents on the dollar, and that's all, folks.
Eli Lilly is buying Ventix, which has a drug approved for Crohn's disease and arthritis. $1 billion purchase. Not a big needle mover for Lilly.
10 days worth of revenue, 11 days worth of revenue.
I think I think that Lilly might be getting over its skis a little bit here, but this is their playbook. Their playbook is to buy promising molecules at a lower cost than some of these other pharmaceutical companies buying 10, 15, $20 billion acquisitions. For Lilly, they're just trying to kind of this crown of like small diamonds, and that's where Ventix fits in. I think Ventix has something. It's a show me story with Ventix. What they're doing is they had these pills and they were trying to repurpose them for obesity. They help with inflammation, et cetera, et cetera. And then that failed. So now they're trying to repurpose them for cardiovascular. So it's a good drug, and it could be used for other pathologies, but $1 billion for it is a little bit steep. That said, it fits with Lilly's strategy, and to Tom's point, this is like a few days of
they're daddy fat stacks right now. They got so many chips on the table. They can
print money.
They can bully anybody.
Yeah.
They can go in any hand.
Yeah, and so why not?
Yep.
In December, we got an executive order from Trump calling for regulators to dig in deeper on proxy advisors. J.P. Morgan making a move on their own and basically getting rid of a group that Jamie Dimon previously alluded to as incompetent and should be gone and dead and done with. So they have moved on from their proxy advisors.
The alternative, though, is surprising to me. It's not a person. It's not a team of analysts.
It's AI.
It's an in-house AI-powered platform to cast shareholder votes. Not just to recommend, but to cast. I would think the SEC would be looking at this, but as the SEC is already looking at the proxy advisors themselves, maybe that's a lower priority.
It seems like the AI might be on the side of the board of directors on every recommendation.
It seems like the urgency to vote proxies has really hit a fever pitch recently. We've had clients who called. They're like, I'm getting nonstop calls and mailers to vote my proxies. I've gotten text messages. They're like, hey, we noticed you haven't voted your proxy. Go ahead and log in your Schwab and do it. More so than usual. Is BlackRock just losing their grip on every company? Or is it just splintered? Is there so much retail? I don't understand what's driving all this proxy stuff right now, because it feels like it was a nothing
burger.
Before.
It's like you pay these guys to make decisions in the best interest of shareholders. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe that maybe they're not incentivized the right way. Maybe the management team, maybe the board is not incentivized the right way. Because otherwise, why do you have to keep going to the shareholders to get their advice on stuff?
Yeah.
These people know nothing.
It's kind of like, I don't know, man. You run it. Trump meeting with insurance companies over pricing today. Wants the GOP to own healthcare.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes of this.
I mean, he got Venezuela.
Real easy.
About to take healthcare.
This will be really interesting. I think a lot of people are hopeful that, or anticipating that Trump is going to come out and, it's a taco trade. Trump always chickens out, and he's going to ultimately make a deal with the insurance companies where the insurance companies benefit and everyone wins, and ultimately the insurance companies do well. But again, and we've said this before, listen to what Trump says. Trump does not like the insurance companies as much as everyone else in Washington likes the insurance companies because it's what gets them reelected. Because it's the big contributors to their reelection funds. Trump does not like the insurance companies, and I think that we would be well served to remember that we are underweight at Narwhal Health Insurance Company still.
Trump also meeting with major oil companies. This comes on the heels. He put out a Truth Social post yesterday saying that the U.S. is getting 30 to 50 million barrels of Venezuelan oil that will be sold at the market for the benefit of the Venezuelan people and the U.S. people. So,
another $2.5 billion.
I have a feeling that might be a little more lopsided towards the U.S.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there are more people. If you divide it equally among the number of people, it's like 10 to 1.
I'm interested to see what comes of this in terms of the drilling that goes on the oil fields of Venezuela as a result of all of this. Because I do think that Trump really intends to get the guys at Chevron and Exxon and Conoco to be aggressive with how they build that up.
I mean, if there is as much oil as is reported, and there has been a lot of talk about maybe that there isn't as much oil because the numbers have been reported by Maduro. I mean, think about it like Dubai or the UAE, where there's all that oil money, and how those places have become just insane modern cities. Like, why could Venezuela not be that on our side of the world? Why not?
Be pretty fun. I could see Hicks getting away for a long weekend.
Or wait for it, another mecca of oil, Houston. What if Venezuela was just like Houston? Kind of boring, but not bad. There's money there.
There's football.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Astros. They could have their own Astros if they want. They love baseball.
They do. Yeah.
I mean, just think about it.
Yeah. Makes you think. All right. We'll wrap it up there. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon.